In this episode of Stay Human America, take a trip to sweet old Sedona, Arizona, a truly magical place that Maddox and I, my French bulldog, get to call our new home. Brace yourself, dear tourist. You are about to experience our infamous vortexes, albeit virtually, in an unconventional way. People typically think of Sedona as a slow-paced sanctuary and escape from the normal everyday grind. And for the most part, they're right. People like me who moved here want peace and serenity, but we're also not cut off from the rest of the world. And in this episode, you'll see we the people peacefully protesting at hands-off marches and May Day rallies that have taken place nationwide. See our normally calm, uncongested streets filled with Sedonians taking a stance for human rights, small businesses, universal healthcare, and much, much more. And thanks to nonprofits like Indivisible Group, Democrats of the Red Rocks, and Sedona Action Network, who continue to make it all happen. Set to a backdrop of radiant red rocks turning a blissful blue. Energy fields are everywhere here, filling us all with hope that democracy will prevail. Along the way, you'll meet many brave souls. A single dad fighting for women's rights. A heartbroken mother whose trans daughter was fired from the military. A teen tormented over our deteriorating planet. And one brave congressional senator who travels from Minnesota to give us a glimpse of truth. The inside scoop on what's really going on in Washington and what Congress is doing about it, with a tyrant at the helm. What are your names?
Sam.
Bruce.
I'm Mary.
Hi, Mary.
And this is Maddox. He's also a diehard liberal.
He's French.
Yes, of course. Yeah, talking about the upside down flag. I've seen also.
Yeah, it's in the U.S. flag code. It's just a sign of distress.
Is it? Yeah. And I've also seen like a black and white flag as well.
Those other ones, usually they have a colored stripe in them.
Uh-huh.
If it's blue, it's a police, federal policeman.
Well, I mean, you guys are head to toe America. And it's a really sad and frightening time right now.
Absolutely. We've been through so many things, and we've survived. And this is an idiot who is hallucinating.
Is he an idiot or is he an evil genius?
Well, I think he's evil regardless.
Yeah, I do too.
He's hallucinating about half this stuff. And he's still saying, oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I don't know about that. In fact,
It's never his fault.
He's the one who's told the people to do these things. His people do what he says.
Well, I mean, your hat says it all.
Yeah.
Make lying wrong again.
Yeah.
I mean, the misinformation that's out there has really polarized people, and I'm starting to explore. I came from really positive feedback.
Yeah.
I came from California, living under a blissful bubble my whole life, and then moved to Arizona, where I think Sedona skews a lot more liberal and loving. But living in a red state is difficult for relationships. Have you had any experiences with that?
Our neighbor's kid keeps asking my daughter, why is our flag upside down?
Oh, okay.
And my daughter basically says, why do you ask?
And are
they'll
they...
say, do you not like Trump? Why do you ask?
Right. Are you here in West Sedona?
No, we live in Camp Verde.
Okay. Yeah. So
During the last presidential election, we had a yard sign out, and people would kind of sneak up to our door. When woman and our daughter snuck up to our door and said, knocked on it very lightly and said, "We want you to know we're with you, but we're afraid to put yard signs out as red."
Yeah, that's so interesting because you did see a lot of yard signs for Trump, but not for the opposite party. And I think there's also a backlash now of people who voted for him, and I just wonder if we need to give them some leeway to change their minds.
Yeah, I think so. I think I feel like guess they need to understand what he's doing in relation to the Constitution.
Yeah.
Because, deporting U.S. citizens, which is what he did just the other day, or arresting, I should say, U.S. citizens for deportation,
that's another finger.
Is something that, well, it's there under that is there for the Alien Enemies Act, which is only supposed to be used in time of war. And so he's declared unofficially a war, because Congress is the one who gets to declare
Crime begets crime, right? I mean, elect a felon, see what happens. Well,
I don't know that he's ever actually understood the Constitution.
Well, he's been bullying ever since the first debate. When he first opened his mouth during that debate, they should have gotten rid of him because he was disrespectful and rude. He intimidated everybody else on that stage. And everybody has been afraid of him for years, not just during the elections, since the 60s. He has intimidated people and threatened them with his lawyer. And that's all he had to do, and people would back up.
You were living in the New York area back when he and his father were sued by the Justice Department for not letting black people stay in their apartments.
Oh, really? You lived in New York for a while?
Yeah.
In the New York area.
Okay. Yeah, they're really getting, the universities there are really getting hit hard.
Oh, hammered.
So this is a conglomeration of people from throughout the Verde Valley. It is not just Sedona, people from Cornville and Clarkdale, and people drove from as far away as Prescott, which is an hour and a half, from Payson, from Flagstaff. We have Indivisible groups here. We've got lots of people. So I am not going to waste one more second. I am just going to turn the microphone over to Senator Amy Klobuchar. Welcome.
Amy, I came because you're a listener.
Yeah.
I drove up from Prescott.
Okay.
I want you to take a story to Pete Hickson.
Okay.
My husband is at the VA.
Yes.
But we have to move from Prescott because it's not big enough. They don't have enough memory care beds. Right. They don't have any hospice beds.
Yeah.
He has got it. Look, you can take that with you. That's my story. I wanted to talk to you because you listen.
I do.
And the guy who asked about resistance, there's 250 people in here.
I know.
This is if every one of you can resist.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. You can have that.
It's these sad stories that we're seeing every day, and how hard it is for people. There are people that are afraid they're going to get kicked out of cancer trials. There is going to be so many people that are leaving the VA. I did a event at one of our veteran services areas and heard the story of a guy that had served his whole life, and then he got one of those probationary things, and then they tried to hire him back, and he said, I'm not going back. My husband is a law professor. He had a law student that job in the military was protecting us from bombs, right, detonating them for years and years, and he had a disability. He went to law school, got a job at the VA, was doing really well there. With a week before his probationary period, he got fired. He's not going back. So the saddest part is, even when they get a court order, there's a lot of really great people leaving government, and so we're going to be fighting for the VA and for our veterans, and you've got two incredible veterans that'll be doing it here. So I just want you to know that.
We're leaving Arizona to go to Sacramento, where the bigger VA.
Okay.
They have no hospice beds and no memory care beds.
Is that a direct result of what's happening? Are you finding?
You know, it's poor planning. It's a combination of cities and towns and states working together. If you look at any article over the last 6 to 10 years, Prescott has been the retirement destination. So they've got all these older vets who moved into the area, and nobody's looked at what that's done to the need for services at the VA.
Are you in Prescott Valley?
No, I'm in Prescott.
Okay, my mom's in, I call it Trump Valley.
Where?
I call it Trump Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's...
Well, Prescott's just as bad.
Yeah. I think that we were having a rally, peaceful protest.
On Saturday, tomorrow.
Yeah. Will you be there?
No, I got a sitter for my husband today, so I have to stay home tomorrow.
And what type of illness does he have?
He has lung cancer and dementia. And cardiac issues. It's kind of a triple whammy.
Yeah, that's really hard to deal with.
Navigate.
And what a uproar in your life to have to
I'm 80 and I'm moving. I'm 80 and I'm moving my house, my whole house,
and a sick
without
husband.
my husband's help.
Well, if you need any help,
Fortunately, I have a great cadre of friends, but now I've got to start making community all over again.
and I'm interested in how everyone's being affected on a
I was
personal
totally
level.
unprepared for it. We've been here 6 years, totally unprepared.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just blown away, and I want to be able
And
to.
the hate, the level of hate.
Down there because I authored a bill on closing the gun loophole so that people who are convicted of domestic abuse can't get guns, and that started with the Giffords Foundation. So anyway, there was this moment where Gabby and I were doing an event. It was about a year or two after the tragic shooting, and she was hanging in there. And we ended up at Sandra Day O'Connor's ranch, where we were just doing this kind of meeting with domestic abuse advocates. And all of a sudden, Sandra Day O'Connor showed up. This is a true story. And there I was with the two of them, and that was a very memorable thing after she had stepped down from the Supreme Court. And then I ended up later as chair of the Rules Committee. I think we had 14 pictures and paintings of women in the entire Capitol, lovely, like 200 some men. So I actually sponsored a bill because Ruth Bader Ginsburg family came to ask me to get a statue of Ruth in the Capitol, and I thought, how am I going to get this done? So what do you think I thought about? So I called the O'Connor family. We did the bill together, and it passed. And that's they're going to be in the rotunda in the Capitol. So it's pretty cool in a few years. So I do love your state. Mark and I had a very memorable. I'm going to see him later this weekend. But we had a very memorable trip up here once when he was running in his last campaign. He asked me if I wanted to fly in his plane up here. And you know, the Sedona landing strip is one to remember. Okay, so I'm like, sure. And it's this tiny little plane. And I get in there, just the two of us. It was kind of a viral photo when he took it. I think he said, I keep asking my colleagues to fly with me, and only one has taken me off. And so we are taking off. He does the count. We're in the air, and he says, "You know, I've actually never had a civilian in this plane." I'm like, "What?" I go, "What do you mean?" I said, "Hasn't Gabby been in?" "No, because it's hard for her because you have to like crawl over the wings to get in." And I said, he goes, "Oh yeah, my brother was in the plane." I'm like, "Your brother is an astronaut." So now we're like up in the sky, and he goes, and I had done my research here, and he said, "Do you know about the Sedona landing strip?" And I'm like, "No." And he said, "Well, it's it's kind of considered one of the most dangerous in the country. It's like on this mesa, and they call it the USS Sedona because it's like a navy." So he's going through the whole thing. And then I say the words, "Well, you're used to it. I mean, you're an astronaut. And, like, you've landed there before." And he's like, "Nope, never." So then he does like one pass, and we have this beautiful landing. It was for the McCain event the last time up here. And so that is my memory of Mark Kelly. I just try to get things done sometimes and work with people. And however, when you've got someone like Donald Trump that is violating the Constitution on a daily basis, I do believe that's why you see Democrats standing up like never before.
Woo!
My name's Jan.
Jan, nice to meet you.
Nice.
And you're out here protesting peacefully. And it sounds like we're getting a lot of good feedback.
We are. We're getting a lot of good feedback.
We're okay.
And people are tired of the billionaires getting, paying less taxes than we do. The people that made this country great immigrants are now being looked on as less than. I mean, it's got to stop somewhere because we got a future children that we need to provide a planet for.
It's really wonderful to see all ages, races, people out here that are trying to make a difference and have a voice.
My name is Wally Rule.
And you're Jan's husband?
Yes.
Nice. And you guys live in Sedona?
No, we live in Cornville. We lived in Sedona for many years, but moved to Cornville.
Well, thank you for coming all the way up here to peacefully protest. It sounds like we're getting a lot of good feedback. Hunks are good.
Yeah. I think they're a lot more positive than negative from traffic.
Yeah, the first time I did the protests, we got a few middle fingers and FUs, but you're going to get that, right?
Yeah, we got a few of those.
And I think that's an okay thing too. It's evoking emotion. And that's what people need to wake up.
Yeah, and have the conversation. Really, I mean, I don't think it does anything to just come with the idea of being confrontational, and I don't think we are here. And so I crafted my sign to not be confrontational.
What does your sign say?
It said missing from MAGA, which is good qualities, which are compassion, integrity, and truth.
Yeah.
And so that's just a suggestion, and I might want to incorporate some of those good American values.
Yeah, I really like the signs that people, mine are more positive, like stay human. That was something that Pink Floyd had on his floats during the first Trump administration. Mm-hmm. I love your hat too, make lying wrong again.
Oh, this was a gift. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for speaking with me, and I'm really trying to hone in on relationships and how it's sort of broken apart families and friends, because we live in this red state, and so a lot of people have gone, they've broken, ties with people because of who they voted for. Do you have any experience with that?
No, not. Well, yes, there are people that we don't really associate with. We didn't have any confrontations with them. We just seem to have drifted apart.
Right.
And so, I actually understand a lot of what they're saying and agree with some of it and understand why it would alienate them, but I don't agree with the extremities they're taking their responses to.
No, it's such a tough time, and it's a system built on tearing people apart, and just hoping that we give people the opportunity to change their mind.
Well,
is really important.
Lead with an invitation to talk rather than a haymaker.
Exactly.
That's a better strategy if you want to make some change.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. I'm here with Ron. He's a volunteer for Indivisible, a group in Sedona, and we're out peacefully protesting. Why did you come here today?
Well, I'm pretty disappointed in the way things are going with the current administration. And rather than give financial aid to all these senators and all these different organizations, I've decided to share my skill as a filmmaker and record like today's events. That makes me feel like I'm part of all this. I don't carry signs. I don't do too well with phone calls. Letter writing from time to time.
That's wonderful. So using your creativity to give
Yes,
back.
absolutely. I feel very good about that.
Well, thank you so much for your support.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So getting out there, protecting our democracy at all times by being part of it, being a volunteer at the polls, you know all this, and you know what happened in Arizona with those guys standing in camo a few years back at the polling places, and how important it is. The state is oftentimes ground zero. Please don't leave anyone behind here. One of the things we're really trying to do is to reach out in more rural areas and smaller towns. Because people did not sign up for this. They did not sign up for losing their livelihoods or their small business. So that's what happened when you try to run this monopoly economy like he's doing, where he says he has all the power and he's going to decide who gets in and who can get their input costs down and who's going to be able to have tariff reductions. That's exactly what's going on right now. So this idea of rural and small businesses stepping up and small farmers stepping up and ranchers is going to be a big part of this. So just watch, because they're the ones that do not have the margins. They do not have the margins to handle the $4,000 per family tariff tax. They do not have the margins to handle a complete cut down of their export market if it's like 20%. They go under. And it is a horrific situation, but you watch what's going to happen in rural, but it only happens if you help us.
You gotta watch these cars, they might want to hit us.
I've noticed living in a red state that a lot of relationships are in turmoil now because you have red and blue friendships, families, and people are silencing and judging. And I just wanted to see if you've had experience with that.
Well, within our family, yes, but they don't live here.
Okay.
But my biggest challenge is having a trans daughter who served for 11 years in the Navy.
Wow.
And came out PTSD. And,
I bet.
And also trans. And she left the Navy because of it. Otherwise, she would have stayed in. She was highly trained. I can't believe the amount of money they spent training the skill set that she had. And
did she leave because of her PTSD or because of the new ruling?
Because of the trans ruling, the new Trump, the first Trump administration said, we're not hiring trans.
That they're basically not real people.
In a way, yeah, like let's disappear. So she left, she went to tech school, but she got really depressed, and it took her a while to get on her feet, and thank God, she's got parents who can help.
Yeah.
She met a lovely gal.
Oh, good.
And they got married, so that was positive.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
And then she and her spouse just moved to Virginia for new jobs. And according to where she's working, they don't care that she's trans. She has really good skills.
Yeah, that's what it really boils down to, right?
Right now, yeah. So that's a challenge, because not all family members on my husband's side, they don't want to deal with LGBTQ issues. They are more evangelicals.
Oh, yeah, that is tough.
Well, they do accept us, but my trans daughter will not attend any of their events.
Yeah, I'm sure it's uncomfortable for her.
She doesn't want to hassle with them, it's just not with her state of mind, and she has to take antidepressant drugs now. It's enough.
So in a way, you're out here fighting for her and other trans rights. I love it. Just trying to get the word out,
Yeah.
I think that's what's important. And spread love everywhere.
And it's nice to know that there are many people like us who are willing to come out and use their voices for what they feel is a moral. To me, this is now a moral decision that we're making.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel inclined to join the rally, I tell people, do 5 calls.
Yeah, whatever you can.
Write a letter. Those are so easy now.
Yeah.
Give to a ACLU because they're defending our rights. You can do something.
Right.
Otherwise, if you're just going to sit on your hands, I think the people that don't do anything but they're anxious, it gets worse because they haven't done anything. And you have to do something.
That is true. It gives us something to focus on, like we're making a difference.
Absolutely. And then you convince more people to join.
You just can't even imagine. Just this week, we were talking about costs, and I'm kind of do a lot of the policy work with our caucus in my number 3 position. So I'm standing up there and going over all this stuff about Medicare and this and what's happening with the tariffs and the cost issue. And then Ruben stands up and he's like, and I called it the tariff tax. And he goes, have you heard about the baby tax? And I'm up, and we're all like, what are you? Because, of course, let's just say that the average age of the Senate is significantly older than Ruben Gallego. Yeah, let's just say it really is, like I'm the average. Okay. So he says, he goes, yeah, my wife and I just went because, we had 3, and we had a baby, and the strollers, and I don't know if you've heard about this, the strollers, because of the Trump tariff tax, are inordinately expensive right now. So he explains this whole thing, and then he sends us stuff. And I just want to, it's like normal point that the senators with all of their, charts and numbers and everything would not have thought about this stroller issue, except for your senator, Ruben Gallego. And he constantly does that. It's really quite extraordinary, right? So I am cheering Donald Trump's inauguration. This is how this got to this point. Yes, this happened. And I am still the only person in the history of America that has ever been alone in a car with Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The 3 things that wanted to stand the test of time. I thought I knew what was coming at us, and I think that still has guided me every single day. The first thing I said was that our democracy back then, and even much harder now, is a hot mess. But it is still our democracy. And it is ours to take care of. And when you talk about people who maybe voted for Donald Trump and voted for Ruben at the same time, and there's a number of them. I know that because in my state, I was up last time, same thing, good 10% of them. So I knew who they were. And when you talk to some of the people that maybe did support him but have some serious concerns about what is going on right now, it may be about Social Security, it may be about the tariffs, you remember this, that our democracy is the shelter in the storm. That is a Bob Dylan reference. He was born in Minnesota. He grew up in Minnesota. And I love that movie, A Complete Unknown, and I wanted to find a way to work that in.
You did.
And so that's what I did. That our democracy is our shelter in the storm. Second thing is that we have 3 equal branches of government. And that in some countries, the inauguration is held at a gilded palace or in an executive office building, but in our country it is held in the people's house for a reason. And this is a true stress test of our democracy, what is happening right now. And I always remembered all 9 justices. We're at this one, and you might think, oh yeah. I kind of thought, is this a show of force? That's what I thought. Because they had RSVP'd when it was outside. And so they were all there. And I said that day that it is, I mentioned that all 9 of them were there. And I said it is on their building, inscribed the words, equal justice under law. These checks and balances, these judges, there have been over 100 cases now where judges have stopped what they're doing. They have said it's against the law.
Thank you. What was your name?
I'm Lola.
Lola. Nice to meet you. I'm Mary.
Nice to meet you, Mary.
You're pretty young, huh?
Yeah, I'm 18.
Wow. I didn't start caring about politics until I was in my 40s.
It's kind of impossible not to these days.
That's really true.
This was my first election.
That's so amazing. I think for me, it was I voted when I was 18, and then I didn't again until this last election. I've been living under a bubble.
Wow.
So, do you live in Sedona?
I do. I was born and raised here.
Your dog would like it.
Oh, that's great. I have some too.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely hot.
He's cute.
And you're in West Sedona?
Yes.
And is your family here?
Yes, my mom is here.
Are they pro-Trump, anti-Trump?
We're very anti-Trump fans.
That's good. Mine is the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the black sheep.
Well, it's always good to have a black sheep.
And your sign says planet over profit.
Yes.
So you care a lot about the environment.
Yes, I want to be able to live into my 80s.
Yeah.
I want to be able to breathe clean air. And
Yeah.
drink clean water. It doesn't feel like too much to ask for.
Right. Yeah. I know. We are definitely ruining our planet.
So I am kind of out of the everyone sucks mode. I'm not really in that mode, okay? I'm in the mode that we're doing our best in a really hard time right now. We are pushing votes and pushing votes, and we were having these votes. It's 2 a.m, right? And we say, okay, you want to reduce taxes for millionaires? Okay, why don't you draw the line at people making These figures may be a little off, but like $50 million. Could we at least not bring their taxes down? Mark says. And they all vote, no, we want to bring their taxes down. Then Elizabeth says, okay, how about $100 million? I think that's what it was. People make $100 million. Could we at least not spend like Social Security funds to bring down their taxes? And they're like, they all yell. You can see the video. No! And then finally Angus King, independent of Maine, he comes out there and says, okay, how about $500 million? And they all yell out, no. Did we change the world with those votes? No, but we stood our ground and made the case to hold them accountable for what they're doing right now. That there is not an emergency at the Canadian border that gives the president the right to give these tariffs to one of our best allies that literally fought by our sides in 2 world wars, one of our best allies that was the first on the ground on September 11th to help our country, our only ally that actually draped on the side of their building for years the banners, a friend, ally, partner. And he calls them the 51st state. And they are so mad right now, this is going to affect, forget about the tariffs, they're canceling trips to America in major. They're not making them, and this will affect Arizona. Since in Minnesota we can see Canada from our porch, it has been all chaos, it has been all corruption, and it has been costs going up. Chaos going up, the quieter voices, the ones that haven't always shown up, that are watching what are happening to our democracy, they are equally important right now. And sometimes it is all of you who are going to hear those voices and not me. So I know a little bit about this monopoly issue and what can happen when you lose competition in small businesses. And I've made it my life's work to take this on because it's been really not paid attention to. Thank you, one person. Thank you. But this is what he is trying to do right now with how he's acting. He's like trying to establish, tyrant, monopoly government there. He is squelching people's right to speak. He's going after the news media on a daily basis, including his attorney general, just threatening to subpoena journalist records. He is taking on the universities and places of thought on his power. You look at how he intimidates and bullies people all the time. This includes making very clear that he'll know no limits. Chris Krebs, I'm sorry, I'm free now. What Chris Krebs said was the exact same thing that Bill Barr said, his own attorney general. He is now threatening an investigation of this guy, simply because he had the audacity to say the election was okay in 2020. He has pardoned these January 6th people who have injured over 100 police officers. He has taken away the security clearance of people that need that security clearance. These are all things that tyrants do. So as we think about this, for me, I was actually in charge of making sure the electoral ballots were counted on January 6th. And it was Roy Blunt and me and Mike Pence that made that walk at 3:30 in the morning. Started out as a day of celebration. We led all the senators with the 3 pairs of young women with the mahogany boxes to the House of Representatives. And then 12 hours later, there we were, and we made that same walk alone. Everyone had been sent home for security purposes, except Pelosi and some of the people in the House. And we made the 3 of us, but it had the same 3 young women, pairs of young women with that mahogany box containing all of the electoral ballots in the country, except for Arizona, because that had been the objection that led to January 6th. Those had already been announced, right? But we went back, and that was the first thing we had to do. Then we finished the other ones, and we walked this time over broken glass and by pillars spray painted with racist vulgarities. I had to give the speech after Ted Cruz before they invaded the chamber, and there we were, and we made that walk, and democracy prevailed. So
And right now he's holding on to his job right now, but the volunteers are in.
What's his position there?
He's the director of AmeriCorps in Southern Colorado.
Okay.
And
are they cutting jobs there or cutting funding?
They've cut funding, and this is funding for AmeriCorps volunteers because they have living expenses. They get a stipend.
Right.
And they live in dorm type houses, where they're 5 or 6 in each house.
Right.
And without that kind of funding, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to do their jobs.
Yeah.
So it's just chaos. It's just creating more chaos and creating unnecessary chaos.
And when you elect a billionaire who's had 7 bankruptcies, I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
Well,
They're not going to care about the little guy.
Do you know how much of our economy is this? I mean, it is 0.000001.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, the middle class is just gone.
Yeah. And any help for communities there's no compassion. There is no, I don't think, ethics, morals at all.
Yeah,
So.
I'm exploring the loss of human empathy, and on both sides, because I'm trying to navigate my relationships here with friends and family who are right and Trump supporters, and rather than yell at them, scold them, berate them, I welcome their point of view and their opportunity to be able to change their mind.
Well, you know what Elon Musk said? Empathy is weakness.
Well, that's because he naturally doesn't have it.
Right.
So he doesn't understand.
Right.
He wants people to operate like him. We were talking a little bit about relationships and living in a polarized community. I've seen it with my family and my friends, and trying to hold on to the people I love despite our differences. And it's really, really difficult. I don't necessarily blame people that can't or won't, but just wanted to hear what your take is on everything.
My father's side of the family, almost all exclusive Trump supporters. Not my father. He and I have had the conversation a lot because he's about ready to move in with my cousin, who's actually closer to my dad's age. And, oh my gosh, my cousin has paid like over $10,000 in support of Trump to get a decent seat at one of his things. And
just at one of his rallies, or?
Yeah, just before he was elected. I was blown away when I heard about it. I was shocked.
Put that money to better use.
Well, yeah, and he makes great money. And yeah, he definitely paid to get a good seat. And I love my cousin. I think he's fun. He has 4 daughters. I have 5. We have so many things in common.
That's a big family.
And
are you Irish?
What's that?
Are you Irish?
No, not at all. I'm not even religious. But we just don't talk about it, And
that's you deal with it.
the easiest way to dodge it. And there will be jabs from both of us from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's just not worth it. There's no way I'll ever get him to reason. And from my understanding, some people are just believers or they'll live their life on faith. And faith requires 0 facts.
That is a really good point.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was raised to be more like a computer program, more logical,
rational,
critical thinking, rational.
And I was raised to be a skeptic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, same. I have 5 daughters, so there's no way in hell.
You like green petition?
No way in hell I could ever vote for someone who wants to strip women's rights.
Right. All kinds of rights.
Yeah, yeah, right. But I mean, my kids to me come first, and they're all women. And the last thing I want to be is a solo grandfather taking care of a grandkid because they can't get an abortion, or they've had a problem, or they die because they can't get proper health care.
I love to see a male's point of view on women's health because it's I think what's missing in our society is empathy, and if you're able to put yourself in other people's shoes, that's what makes us human.
Yes, I had the distinct pleasure of being able to teach women's health at an all-girls school for a few semesters, and it taught me a lot. I basically just fielded their questions and would answer them for them. Living with 5 daughters has been eye-opening. The best
a lot of estrogen.
Yeah, a lot of estrogen. I ride that estrogen wave on road trips across the country in a minivan. If one tear starts and you don't stop it in time, you ride the tidal wave of tears because they all chime in. I became very good at just surfing the waves and getting them to laugh instead.
And do you have a partner?
I had one.
So you're raising 5?
No, just 3 on my own solo for 8 years.
Good for you.
So, yeah, I will have 5 daughters, all graduate Red Rock High School by next year. So, and that's to me an accomplishment. I've got 2 college grads, one that only has a semester to go and decided not to finish. And then one is marrying a millionaire and she doesn't want to go to school because why should she bother? And youngest just wants to own her own business.
Okay. So. And you said this was your first protest. What was your experience? Was it everything you imagined?
A lot older than I ever imagined, but I do live in Sedona. But I'm shocked because I really think a lot of where I'm from, the South, it's the old people and the people stuck in the old ways.
What part of the South are you from?
Continue what they know rather than what's possible. So,
you said like what?
I'm from Kentuckiana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so right on the border. I moved here when Trump took office the first time because, oh my God, the hate skyrocketed. And as a kid, I'd already seen a cross burn in North Carolina in someone's yard, and I just didn't want to go through that crap before.
That's so interesting because I came from California, and Arizona is a shock to me, but it's probably more of a comfort for you.
It is, yeah. Well, no, Kentucky's way more liberal than Arizona.
Oh, it is?
Like, I would never go. I don't want to ever have to go to Prescott.
I know my mother lives in Trump Valley.
Yeah,
so
like, I mean, it's disgusting. And I mean, the hatred's tangible. I have a little electric car, and I've had the truck circle me before.
Wow.
And it's just like, what the hell? But at the time, I had long hair, looked like a hippie, so I'm sure I'm just not their flavor.
I think that we need to peacefully protest there because I saw the saddest... I saw the saddest protest there. It was right before the Super Bowl, where they took down the, equal opportunity, stop racism, because Trump was going to attend the Super Bowl.
Right.
And so you had this small family of Hispanics on the corner peacefully protesting, and then I went to Costco, in a matter of an hour, there was MAGA lined up, yelling at them on the opposite side, and it was just heartbreaking. And scary, yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but NFL threatened to pull the plug on the Super Bowl that took place in Phoenix if they didn't adjust, make sure that women's rights were more recognized.
Oh.
So I know everybody thinks NFL is probably like a MAGA sport or whatever. NASCAR's done similar. And there are decent people in.
I just think Trump is such a bully that people are doing stuff without even being told to do it. And it's scary times.
That's definitely how it starts. I'm sure all the Germans were bullied into hating Jews. And now it's just starting with immigrants. But what disgusts me is this week the Republicans just passed. Now they can deport any U.S. citizen. The president has the right to do that. I guess it may have to
disappear
go to the
us,
Senate
right?
or something.
I just started reading 1984 again. Okay. Because I read it in high school, and their parallels are uncanny.
Yes.
So I know how hard this election was, but right now we are focused. I got to tell you this, I get why people are mad, but we are focused on taking on the Republicans. Yep. We have so much more in common in our party than we do with what they're doing right now, the rubber stamp Republican Congress. That's what you should call them. Whereas we are standing up every single day.
It's not easy finding Trump supporters that are willing to speak out these days. So when I walked past Matthew at the local coffee shop, in my neighborhood wearing a white sleeveless tee with a thick, bold cross displayed across his chest with the words "Believe" emboldened on it, and a Doge decal on his car, I knew I had to turn back, force myself into journalistic mode that morning to ask him if he would be willing to interview with me. Matthew, a devout Christian and Republican, was more than willing to speak with me, even though he was aware of my libertarian beliefs. He knew I wasn't there to attack him. I simply wanted to hear his point of view, even if I completely disagree with it. No matter what, we have to treat everyone with respect. It's only when both parties can let their defenses down that real, honest conversation can start taking place in our country. It's only then we can start learning from each other, not just what you believe, what I believe, but going deeper, drilling down, getting to the harder, grittier stuff that matters. The why. Why do we believe it? Which is far more important if we're actually to understand.
Matthew,
I'm Mary, and I live just over here. Are you local?
yes, I am.
So you're in Sedona?
Yes, I am.
Cool. And yeah, what struck me as I walked by, because we come to this coffee shop a lot, is your shirt, and you also had a sticker on your, I don't know if it was your iPad or your notebook.
Oh, my laptop, yes.
And then also this Doge decal on your car. So you have, it sounds like you have some strong beliefs.
I do, yes.
What do you believe in?
Well, I believe in our country. I believe in America. I was raised conservative. 1 year, though, in 2008, I was in college, and I decided that I was going to go Obama. Never left the Republican Party, but I voted for him. And I found out that was a mistake. So
why do you think that was a mistake?
Well, because it wasn't, he professed change and everything, but all we got was more war, CIA operatives overseas, etc. I lived overseas during his years.
Oh, okay.
So I saw all of the attacks that were happening in this country in Tunisia that I was living in. The locals even said, it's your CIA. So people over there already knew that the American CIA was over there causing all these wars, causing all of this, using taxpayer dollars to do these covert operations through the CIA. So in Tunisia, North Africa, the Arab Spring happened in 2011. I was over there in 2014 helping my friend out with his NGO. They were reestablishing the dictatorship and transferring it over to more like a democracy and a republic, so to speak.
Are you for democracy, or are you more for an authoritarian kind of dictatorship type government?
I'm more for reestablishing the Republic of the United States.
What does that mean to you?
Well, it's different than a democracy. The Republic literally is for the people, and the people really do control our elected officials. And what we need to do is here in Sedona as well, there's similar problems happening within our local level politics. I'm also a precinct committeeman for the Republican Party here.
Okay.
I'm going for our Area 3 director as well for the Republican Party.
Okay.
Is
that what this bumper sticker is about, or no?
So this right here, that is the Andy Bake sticker for governor.
Okay.
So Andy is running for governor, so I'm supporting his campaign as well. He's got the same values that I have. And I just really want to bring this country back to its traditional values and more family-oriented, and stop this division amongst the people.
I think we have the same goals as far as stopping division and polarization. I spent most of my adult life in California, so I was apolitical. And moving here, it was so shocking to see the divide.
Yeah.
It's really a purple state. I'm more on the liberal side, but my entire family is conservative Trump supporters, and I also have friends here that are. So I'm really trying to keep my friendships and my family. And I've noticed some people aren't able to do that in this type of environment.
And I'm the same way too. Like I I have Democrat friends.
Mm-hmm.
Donna Michaels, she's a politician in town. She's done a lot of work with the school board and everything, and the board of supervisors up here. She just switched. She comes in to my job. She's one of my clients, and she knows my beliefs. I know hers. But the thing is like, so I work at one of the restaurants in town.
Okay.
Since this is a political conversation, I'm going to keep out,
of course,
the restaurant that I work for, out of respect for the owner as well, because she's not on my belief system.
Yeah.
But we respect each other a lot.
That's good.
But Donna comes in. She's one of my regulars. She knows who I am. I know who she is. But she chooses me as a server because she likes the service I give her. And I love her as a client because she's just really nice and respectful. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't care what your beliefs are. I have my beliefs. I used to be one of the conservative people 5 years ago that was just like, stay away from me, liberals. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. But I believe I've humbled myself, and I still love my beliefs. But at the same time, we live in a town right now where it's literally 49% Republican now, and 51% Democrat. So we all have to work together.
Yes.
And I've worked with the Democrats on certain issues. A couple other Republicans up here have been working with the Democrats on certain issues. But now we're getting pushed back by our own party, being like, why are you working with the Democrats?
Right.
And I'm like, I love the Republican Party, but I said, you don't live in this area. The area that you all live in is fully concentrated with Republicans. Our area is split. We have Democrats, we have Republicans. So now what we need to do is, it's not unfortunate, but we have to find some way in this area,
some common ground,
to work together.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And you're also a Christian?
Yes.
And you go to a local church around here?
I'm with this biblical citizenship class group, so we meet every Thursday.
You're very active in the community, it sounds like.
Very active. And we meet every Thursday, and I have fellowship. I have not really claimed a church yet, because
there's plenty to choose from here.
There's plenty. But for me, it's in the Bible, it says, just 2 or 3 gathering in my name, and that's the church. Mm-hmm. So we gather every Thursday at somebody's house, and that's kind of where my church is at. And
do you notice
real Christians know that God's always within us. Anyways, we don't need a pastor or a Catholic priest to get to God. Yeah. We already can do that ourselves. We don't need a man in between man and God. It's just
I grew up Catholic, but sometimes when religion is forced on you, you end up kind of doing the opposite. Yes. So I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, and I believe in treating everyone with kindness. Do you notice that there's a intrinsic Christianity and religion that's inseparable from your party?
Say that again.
Religion and state, religion and Republicans, are those kind of synonymous? That most your Bible group are they all?
Yeah, they're all conservatives. Yeah. Typically in the conservative area, you're going to see more Christians. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of Christian Democrats too. I see Democrats sometimes in church. Well, I'll pop in the church once in a while around town, some services.
I'm really glad I met you, because I find it really easy to find the liberals and the Democrats, but it's harder to find the conservatives that are so open and friendly and willing to talk.
I'm always open and friendly to talk and everything. I'm not... Look, the reason why I agreed to this with you is I can tell, you're not going to take my words and twist them and make it all crazy. That's happened to me in the past. I've trusted a reporter, and it was flipped on me.
Really?
So, but look, I'm here to represent the Republican Party in the right way. We have our strong beliefs, and I'm not going to lie, just like the Democrats have their activist groups, we have our activist groups. Yeah. So there's always going to be extreme on both sides, but me, I'm just trying to really stop this hate towards everyone and just kind of work together, especially, like I said, in our area of the state, it's split. So if it were Prescott, where it was the majority was Republicans, then of course we're not really going to be working with the Democrats because the Republicans control everything. But Democrats control everything here, but then you got the Republicans that are also active. So you got to work together in this area.
Yeah. You're here today speaking out, telling your story to the public, and you've also joined me in peaceful protests in Sedona, standing up for human rights. But you also mentioned recently that you've given up. What do you mean by that in terms of politics?
I think I've just realized that I'm not persuasive enough to change my friends' minds.
Yeah, it's like exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Always hear, this is in the Constitution, that's in the Constitution. I noticed when I first moved here, lots of people have, tattoos of the Constitution, we the people. Like, I want to know enough where I can, hold my own. Amendments clause about personal, not personally benefiting from your office. And then Congress is the only one with the power to put in tariffs. And then I know he's thinking about denying habeas corpus, which I didn't really remember exactly what that means, but it had to do with due process. And I think it meant of the body, but it's about not being able to hold someone without charging them. And, he's just holding people that are getting swept up and deporting them. And it clearly spells out, even if you're not a citizen, if you're in this country, you are entitled to due process. Yeah. So these people that say, oh, the Constitution trumps, for the Constitution, like, no, not at all.
No,
he's violating
an outlaw.
Yeah. I admire you for being able to want to bridge the divide and get to the real answers. I wish I was more of that person, but once I figure that someone is not like morally on the same page, how they can support him and claim to be a good person when he's doing terrible things and hurting people, I can't be their friend anymore.
Yeah.
And
it is difficult.
Yeah.
Has your view on Trumpers right? Has your view on the right changed since this age of Trumpism? Have you been able to be friends with Republicans and right wing before?
Before I could ignore it more because it wasn't as blatant. Like, I had quite a few friends, close friends, went during the Bush, years that were in the service. When my daughter was little, quite high up in the Navy, and I respected those people. And even though our values didn't totally correspond, I admired them, and I thought they were honest people. And I just don't see anything redeeming about Trump.
Personally, I'm mourning the death of journalistic integrity. It used to be a respectful business, a reason I was so captivated and dedicated my academic life to it. Now anybody can report on anything they feel like without repercussion or fact-checking. And not only do some Americans not even care, they actually want and prefer sensationalism and radicalism. They want to hear from non-professionals. This is an era of TMZ-like news stations and tabloid podcasts delivering hard news. This is not education. This is entertainment. And it's also not censoring free speech. Because I believe in free speech. How long will it take for our country to heal from the perpetual onslaught of lies and onslaught of executive damage? Those are not mutually exclusive. That's not even a question we can even ask ourselves right now, since we're all in the thick of it. In contrast to Matthew, who was completely professional during the interview, I encountered one other MAGA among the hundreds of peaceful protesters in Sedona. He was completely bigoted standing atop a rock with a cardboard sign and black scribble that said, Trump 2025, as I passed by him. I couldn't help but comment, MAGA is a cult. I warned him. Perhaps it was my verbal accusation? That wasn't so journalistic of me after all. A more proper question would be, do you consider yourself MAGA? And what would you say to the people who believe it's a cult? But it also brought out the Trumpy's ruthless rage. He peered down at me from his rocky throne as if Maddox, my dog, and I were mere red rock, dust blowing in the wind. What is a woman? He retorted. I was thrown off by his antagonism, but still undeterred, I replied. A human being? My head held high, along with my sign, held even higher, marching on in a sea of Sedona solemnity. Despite seeing human rights being stripped away day by day, I believe Americans are strong, and as long as we hold on to our empathy, we will prevail. It's during these troubled times in our country, in our world, I've never felt more at home here. Among the like-minded people I've met by the thousands who are standing up and saying, enough is enough. Make no mistake, MAGAs, Arizona is not blood red, nor is it a solid blue. It's a majestic purple. Stay human, America.